now, it's time for the College of Ice with Brian Brosdahl and Steve Panaz.
Hey guys, Steve Panaz here. Welcome to College of Ice. I got to say thank you for everybody that tuned in last week. We had a really great first show, and I know we're all ready to start chasing tip-ups like that, so it's kind of cool. Hey, I want to congratulate Nicolette Shagstad. I hope I pronounced your name right, Nicolette, for winning the first ever Freybill prize pack. And everybody that's watching the show tonight, you've got a chance to win, so we want you involved. So like us, share us, comment, and have some fun. But hey, before we go any further, I do want to thank all of the vets that have really, and their families and their children and their spouses, for all of the sacrifices this year. And I'd like to bring Bro on here, and the vets, and that includes my father, who was a Marine back in the day. But hey, Bro, I know there's members of your family that are vets as well.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to my brothers, Delray and Dwayne, and as well as my brother-in-law, Joe Orsini, and his son, my nephew, Joe Orsini.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, one of the good news is tonight is Plano Molding is actually offering a special for veterans in honor of veterans. There's a 20% discount on planomolding.com. So if you got your eye on one of those new Edge boxes or something, tonight only, go in and pick up one of these new boxes. So that's pretty cool. Hey, Bro, we do want people to, I can see we got lots of names coming in here already. Keep them coming. But hey, let's talk a little bit about this giveaway before we get into the show.
Yeah, $165 prize package, Freybill swag, cool stuff. You got to love it. And all you got to do is like us, share us, just give us some positive feedback, and you're in and have a chance to win.
So that's
all right.
Hey, when I headed to the Deerwoods on Friday night, it was 78 degrees. We had hot. I woke up this morning to 6 or 7 inches of snow. Hey, we're making ice right now, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely. You know, in some areas, but right where I'm at, and normally we have early ice, but it got warm. It warmed the water temperature up. I mean, it was freezing. I had to bust ice for my last couple of days of fishing and shooting. And now it's been windy and warm. So as soon as we get cold, we're about 4 or 5 degrees, and it's just going to freeze really fast.
Hey, we both dealt with a situation where you get this really cold snow and ice and stuff like that. And you don't want a lot of snow on the ice. You want good, clear ice. So, you know, the good news is I think that we're going to actually have an opportunity to get some good ice right now. And, you know, looking at from New York to Wyoming and Colorado and across the main upper Midwest ice belt, it should be really solid.
Oh, absolutely. You know, as long as we don't get snow early, get some hard black ice, safe ice, and it's going to happen because we're right there everywhere, and the water temperature is cooled down with that Arctic blast, and we're sitting there, and it's going to happen really quick.
Hey, Will, thanks for joining us. Hey, Bro, I know the fact that the lakes are out open are actually a good thing, and it leads into our first topic tonight, and that's how do you find the spots for early ice, for some of your first spots?
Well, you know, the ice blew away, so I'm going to put the boat in and start searching using my electronics, using my AquaView and all the tools I have, finding hard bottom areas near the mud, structures that have a little bit of everything, weeds, rocks, face the open areas. If you're fishing walleyes, perch, panfish, find them, mark them, and go back to them because they're going to be there with the feed bag on.
You know, that green weeds are really important early in the season for a lot of species, especially panfish. And, you know, the nice thing about it is with the clearing waters of this time of year, you can actually find these just by running the boat and looking in, or taking out an AquaView camera or something like that. But you can also search for them as well with your electronics.
Absolutely. And finding these micro features is very important. And the key thing is right now is to get out if you can. And if you can't, you got to drill a lot of holes to replace that easy movement. But I like using the AquaView to look for green weeds, because a lot of the weeds beds die off this time of year. So you don't want to fish brown and rotten weeds. Any green weeds is a magnet this time of year.
So the other thing too is you really want to start looking for locations that you could hit first ice. So things where you can drive, or not drive to, but actually walk to from shore. So what are some of your key spots first ice?
First ice, I like to check out shoreline connected points. A lot of it goes back to the shoreline because whitefish coming to spawn, tulipies coming to spawn, and there's still big fish hanging in these areas. Steep breaks near shore, because you don't want to go out into the deep cold water, because that's where the transition line ends in the safe ice. You got to go where you can, not where you want to sometimes.
One of my favorite lakes is I actually fish a real shallow walleyes. We're talking 6-8 feet in a body of water that traditionally produces a lot of fish in that 30 to 40 feet of water in the fall. But those fish will move shallow, and it's a weed bite. So we just find some hard bottom areas within the grass. Are you finding those same sort of spots on the waters you're fishing?
Absolutely. There's a lot of good weeds, especially lakes like Leech Lake. I could talk about Leech, Winnie. Any place that's got weeds is really good. And the spear fishermen are out there doing their thing, and they're seeing walleyes and perch swimming through. So green weeds are a magnet. And sometimes, though, you still got to look in the basin. Sometimes we get bad weather right at freeze up. The fish will dump over, but they'll climb back up. And fish in different lakes can drop down super fast and super deep, and then they slowly transition up, and they get hard to catch sometimes in deep water.
So, bro, I know you fish a lot of basin fish. You chase perch all winter long. You chase a lot of walleyes winter long. What are some of the key things that you're looking for when you're chasing basin fish?
I like to find good mud relating to structures, bottlenecks, points, near the structures, and sometimes big, expansive flats. But that becomes a little bit more of a thing in later winter, January, February, when you're chasing those big jumbo perch. But if you're in clear water, you need steep edges, especially with zebra mussel water. Now we're fishing lakes that used to have muddled water. Now they're gin clear, and the fish want to hide in these edges.
So zebra mussels really have changed the lakes in our lifetime, and it's amazing. Bodies of water like Mille Lacs and Winnie in this area and across the country. How have you seen it affect the fish behavior and fish movement in an ice situation?
Well, as the ice gets over and there's no snow cover, it could be real spooky. But I would say any place there's snow on top of the ice is a key place to look for. And what I always find, every fish is a creature of some type of edge, even subtle dimples in mud flats. And then weeds is the question we had: what kind of weeds? Cabbage, coontail, and even milfoil. Milfoil infests lakes, but it's an edge, and it's something they can hold to, and it provides oxygen all the way through the winter.
One of the things we should talk about, especially at this time of year, is to make sure that safety is your number one. I mean, I've seen on Facebook already some of the people that were out when we had the cold snap a couple of weeks ago, and I start cringing because I've been through the ice, and I know you've been through the ice, and it's not an experience that you really want to experience.
No, absolutely not. If you're prepared and you bring all your safety equipment, you don't have to really worry. But you want to make sure you got 4 inches of ice. You can see, if there's no snow, you can see where ice forms, it cracks because it's expanding. And if you drill a hole and you got 5 inches of ice here, you can see the cracks and you can follow them and drill. But I always drill, and that's why I like to use razor augers. They have all these different micro augers in sizes 4, 5, 6, 8. And you don't have to drill 8-inch holes all the way across the lake. It's just like changing a bit from your drill. So you take your Milwaukee or DeWalt drill, whatever you want to use, and you have this bit in there. You just turn it to the left. It comes out. Put the big bit in when you're going to set up camp. You don't have to search and push a lot of ice and make a big disturbance.
My technique for staying safe is just following you out there. So I mean that I know the ice is gonna be safe enough for me. And
as my father-in-law says, when I go on, he follows me with his four-wheeler.
So a couple of the safety things that I do like to have is when I was in the water, it's shocking how little there is, because you're up to your chest here. You reach out, and ice picks really are about the only way you're going to get out. I mean, so at a minimum, I carry ice picks. I carry, I actually wear a life jacket a lot more than I used to, but a life jacket in early season is very important. And the other thing is ice cleats. Frabill offers them, but they're going to save you a trip to the chiropractor or worse.
All that stuff makes big sense. I mean, you slip and fall, your back's an expensive thing to fix, even if you just haven't, if you throw your back out, it's not good. But the whole thing is, we're talking this because we don't want people taking risks. If you are a thrill seeker, don't go any less than 4 inches and post it, because you're going to get people interested in going out there. But outside of that, be safe, have your retractable Frabill ice picks. And, I've had concussions on the ice, from not having cleats. You step in snow, then you step on really slippery ice and you're down, and it's no fun.
We got a question from Tim Thomas right now about auger noise and spooking fish. And I want to hear your opinion on this.
I believe what they're hearing is the cutting, not the motor above, so even back when gas was a big thing, not very many years ago, now it's electric. They're not hearing that. They're hearing the cutting noises. And if you have an aquaview down and someone's drilling, you'll see the fish scatter. And that's it. As long as they drill fast and get through and stop, you're okay. If someone walks up with a chisel and you got 3 feet of ice, you might as well go home. It's going to stir everything up. It's like light. It's like thunder down there to the fish. But, electric drill your holes. You don't have to do a drill-a-thon for your first spot. Drill 12 holes, zigzag, and then from there, fine tune. If there's a hole that's lucky, and it's usually Heather's, when I drill the hole, she'll find the lucky hole. I'll kind of move in slowly on her, and she'll throw stuff at me.
I fished a walleye tournament event a few years back, and on the map was the perfect spot. It was a late season thing with moving water and a great structure. And I got there, and it was about 20 guys drilling holes on top of it. And I still liked the area, but I just moved off about 100 yards and drilled a bunch of holes out in the basin around the structure. And you know what? It was a key to getting fish that day. So it was pretty cool. Hey, there was another question about gas versus electric, and I'm a big fan of Razor augers, have been for a couple of years now.
Oh, yeah.
I love now that you've got reliable battery power. Here you've got a 40-volt model where you can actually cut almost 1,800 inches of ice on a single charge. That's going to get you through a weekend unless you can't find those basin crappies.
Oh, absolutely. I got a 40-volt with a 6-inch bit and an 8-inch bit, and it's really nice because you could drill all the holes. And for me, it's not even – it's the small search hole is less slush, and I don't leave one volcano. People who drill volcanoes drive me nuts. Even my clients, they always have their own augers, and they start drilling. I'm like, no, I'll do it, because I kick every hole flat. If I drill 2,000 holes, every single hole is flat, and the smaller the hole, the less slush, and you can hide it.
That's awesome. Hey, slush. One of the things that I learned on a pike fishing trip is that Frabill makes the round tip-up augers or tip-ups. And have you seen a difference between the round tip-ups and the rail style?
Oh, absolutely. The round tip-ups really keep the hole from freezing over, and it's really nice. We don't get very much warm weather after Christmas. It dumps into the freezer, and we get below zero. And those Prothermal tip-ups are my favorite, and you can adjust them just right, and you can use them in any situation, set them light, set them. But the rails are nice for storage. They fit in a bucket, but so do the Prothermals. They stack on top of each other.
Yeah. I've had situations where you find bites where if you have light actually coming through the hole, especially late winter, where you've got all the cover and you got that little tube of light coming down, it seems to spook the fish. Hey, I want to bring in Eric Brandwright. He's a Frabill pro, but he's also a guide out in North Dakota, actually South Dakota. Sorry. He's with Dakota Prairie Angling, and great open water guide, and then also a great ice guide. And I know he's a good friend of yours as well. So Eric, thanks for joining us. Hey, there he is right there. Hey, good to see you. And thanks for joining us, man.
Hey, good guys. Thanks for having me tonight.
Absolutely. Talking ice.
That's right. It's coming.
Now, Eric, you fish a really a unique set of lakes, the glacial lakes in eastern South Dakota. And I know you're targeting a lot of perch and a lot of walleyes, and you're dealing with lakes that are continually changing as waters continue to rise and these lakes start to pushing out to the edges. And I also know you're dealing with a lot more pressure. So kind of take us through your early ice approach when targeting perch and walleyes on your particular lakes. What are you looking for? What are you using? And what tips might you have for our viewers?
I'll kind of go back on what Bro said. 3 weeks ago, we had 6 inches of snow and single digits. And, ice was probably on its way. This past weekend, we were back into the 70s. And so right now, if you've got your boat not winterized, now's the time to get out, even not to fish, but just go for a ride. I was out here about 7 to 10 days ago again, went for a ride, and it's so easy to see those fish right now. Where we live, our weeds, we don't have a lot of weeds and left. We don't have weeds in the wintertime, so we're chasing most of ours in basins. The weeds we have left are really shallow. But these fish are relating to the basins, real subtle changes in these basins. Very easy to see on our electronics. Side imaging, man, it's so easy right now to drive around and see them. And I really do concentrate right now on the places where I'm going to walk out. Those are the first places. I don't want to walk 5 miles to find them. But right now, I quickly drove around a few different lakes, places where I'm going to be able to walk out and definitely mark those spots.
So what are you looking for in terms of structure, or what's holding the fish if there isn't green weeds right now?
Right now it is the subtle changes, large flats that drop off. They're relating to these first breaks, these secondary breaks, getting ready to really drop off into that deep water. There are some out here, our lakes aren't deep compared to other parts of the Midwest. So they're relating to this deep water. They're getting close, but they're not going to move very far. If we get ice in 3-4 weeks, they're going to be 4 weeks, 5 weeks. They're going to be pretty close to where they're at right now.
So you deal with a lot of pressured fish. You've got a lot of angling pressure in the body water, that the waters that you're fishing. And I know that's a change from not that long ago. How are you recognizing pressured fish, and how do you deal with them?
Pressure is, I live in an area that we get people from all over the country. And you know what? They come here because of our fishing. We're very blessed. But you quickly learn that, fishing on the days when it's bluebird skies, it's probably not the best. So we do different things to deal with the pressure. Obviously finding your own fish is the best. If you see a big group of houses, it's usually a day or two late. So really using your electronics, once you find the fish, look at your surroundings, look at the depth of water, try to replicate that spot. It's not too difficult. Those fish are there for a reason. It's not the only place on the lake that's like that. And then once you find them, we're forced a lot to fish low light conditions, mornings, afternoons, late afternoons, downsizing. And all three of us have talked about it many times. Open water, ice, paying attention to detail is huge. From the line you use to the rods you use to how you hook your bait, the knots, detail is going to separate you from the guy next to you.
So what is your preferred lines early in the season, and do you make a switch later in the year, and if so, why?
I rely, fluorocarbon is my favorite. There's no doubt, for a variety of different reasons, especially early in the year. It drops fast. It does have a little stretch, but that by far is my favorite. As we get into the season and fish get pressured a little bit more, and we really have to be on top of our game, I do switch a lot to mono. I prefer that bait maybe not to fall as fast, but being able to have a little bit more stretch in my line allows me to play with my lures and put a cadence that's not so herky-jerky. Not a real subtle action, but more of a subtle action instead of a real jerky action.
Bro, I know you're a big fan of fluorocarbon as well, and I am as well. So what pound test are you using typically? And Eric, I think I know you're a fan of some of the real light stuff as well.
Oh, absolutely. The lighter, the better. 2-3 pound test. Fluorocarbon has a great sink rate. I use it in the summer, but braid, attached to braid on every rod. But in the wintertime, floral, because you want it to get down there and you're fishing straight up and down.
One of the attributes of braid is that it actually kind of floats. You got mono, which is neutrally buoyant. And then when you've got fluoro, you actually do have quite of a sink rate. And I'm finding in deeper water, especially for basin crappies, I used to turn to all the time going to braid, but I'm finding a fluoro is really a great option in that. So, Eric, you had a comment before that that the way you hook your live bait, and you use a lot of live bait. Talk to me a little bit about how you handle and hook your live bait.
I've experimented with a lot of different things, and when these perch come in the wintertime, I love walleyes, but perch are my favorite. If I could chase perch 100% of the time, you've probably seen many pictures of me the last few winters. That's what I prefer to do. But doing different things. It's amazing how a perch can suck a spike off as fast as it can. And when those spikes are gone, they're gone. So different things I've picked up on. No matter if you're using a horizontal lead or a tungsten jig or a small spoon, I always will thread the first one on, and then maybe hook the last couple. Reel in the tip. They suck those ones off on the tip. You've got that little threaded one to at least keep them interested until they leave. Just different nuances, experimenting. Once you find something that works or a little secret, you're going to use it forever. And just those little things of detail, and those having the last couple of spikes on the end and being able to shake that rod just so that the tails move. If you can get that tail to move and your jig does not, you've accomplished something, and the perch are going to absolutely love it.
So it's fascinating to ask both of you guys this question, because you're both big perch fishermen and guiding for perch. When do you go to an aggressive jig stroke, and when do you slow things way down?
Well, if you're fishing a new spot, the biggest perch are usually the first ones caught. They're the aggressors, and everything gets out of their way. And so if you're ripping through an area, you could throw down a buckshot rattle spoon and shake it, and not a giant one, maybe an 1/8 ounce. It would be big in the perch world, or a small micro tungsten bait if they're not reacting to it, as far as what I do.
How about you, Eric?
Yeah, I'm with you. A new area, perch are curious little creatures. They will come. It's amazing, even in the summertime when the perch are gone. It's amazing what even starting your big motor and letting it run for 10 seconds can do. They're curious. They're going to come in. They're going to look. If they come in and don't commit to like a buckshot spoon, then right away I'm dropping something smaller down, whether it's a 4-edge minnow or something tungsten. It's changing it up. Their minds change quite often.
So we've got, I want to show you a little clip of a video, and I'm going to ask your impressions of, and I'm going to ask you why this video is playing. But Kai, our producer Kai, will you play that bluegill video right now?
Finicky.
Definitely.
One of the things
I don't eat like that.
But the reason I wanted to play that video is I've seen that scenario 100,000 times over the years, where we think these fish are efficient feeders. We think they're super aggressive, and I've watched walleyes do this. I've seen perch do this. I've seen bluegills do this. I've seen crappies where they come up and try to eat. And when I was actually fishing competitively, one of the things I went to was more horizontal jigs versus, the baits that lay this way where they can come and grab it, versus the ones that laid like this where they had to kind of turn it to get into their mouth. But talk to me a little bit about pressured fish, or fish that are really kind of turned off, acting like this, perch or walleyes or whatever you guys want to cover. But how do you deal with this situation?
Eric, you go first.
That's interesting. First of all, I'd say go find a new spot. No, I'm just joking. And a lot of it has to do with confidence. I think half the battle is finding fish. Once I find fish, I'm confident I can catch them. I've got an arsenal that I kind of go through. I carry enough rods with me, but when I see something like that, it tells me I need to downsize first. A lot of times, that's one of the first things I'll do. Yeah. And then I'm going to look at really, are they biting it? They coming up and sniffing it? If they're biting it, changing your cadence a lot of times may help. And I see the jigging action on that one. Even jigging it, and then I've seen it where if you just stop it for a couple of seconds, they'll come up and grab it. Or as simple as if you have an 8-inch hole, just moving your line to the other side of the hole, moving it across the water, you'll see if there's more than one fish, you'll see it. Maybe a fish will decide it's going to leave him and he's going to go grab it, be a little more aggressive, or if it's going to come towards him, he's going to grab it. Different things like that. Playing with it, changing lures, going to a tungsten, going to something smaller, changing your bait choice. I'm confident changing stuff up, you can get them.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you. And I think that there's always a way to get fish to bite. You see it in tournaments. Someone always gets them. And sometimes even if you're drilling a bunch of holes, you're fishing for bluegills or perch, drill 6-inch holes and space them out so you can just adjust just by dropping. All you got to do is drop it, and you're still in your cone angle of your hummingbird, and you can still see it on your aquaview, but have multiple holes if you're fishing outside, and just drop it a foot away or 2 feet away. And then a lot of times I silhouette it. What I mean by that is I'm fishing above the fish in dark water and then using darker colors to silhouette it. Sometimes I trigger some purples, like the bloodworm I designed, the skeleton minnow, using small, slow-moving baits, not heavy tungsten, and sometimes makes a big difference. And like you're saying, hooking the waxworm just right. Sometimes I use a quarter waxworm, a half a waxworm, or I clip the tip and slide the guts out so that the skin just moves. It's an awful mess. And then jig in the hole, drop it down, recreate that same action, and you got it. And I totally agree with you.
Early on when fluorocarbon came out, I thought that the invisibility factor of fluorocarbon was going to just blow up and get numbers of fish. And what I found is I actually caught fewer fish. And what I realized is those first generation of fluorocarbon, the line was so stiff. And I really believe that it's not line visibility, but the flexibility and the ability to let that lure act more naturally is the advantage of lighter line over heavier line. And I'm just wondering what you guys' thoughts were on that.
Absolutely. I think the thinner the line, the better. And I used to hate thin line because you'd catch a fish, it would move in your hand and snap it off, and your lure falls down the hole. Now, 1, 2, 3 pound test, you can get really super strong lines. They've really come up some great stuff. Clear. Use, like we were talking last time, you use colored line, but clear is what I like to use down to the presentation. If you're in weeds, it don't matter. If you're in an open playing field in deep water, pressured fish, go as thin as possible if they got nothing to get tangled in. But it might be different for you, Eric, over there with all the willows and things that can wrap around in some lakes.
I agree. When in doubt, I always say use the smallest you can get by with. If you're fishing just panfish and you're not going to be in walleyes or a chance at a pike, you know what? 3-4 pound at most is my favorite. And it seems like I use fluorocarbon right away. And then I am still a mono fan. I just think that the action I can put on some of these lures with a little bit more stretch is an advantage for me come wintertime.
So, Eric, if somebody wants to book a trip with you or wants to touch base with you and get a little more information about fishing some of the glacial lakes in South Dakota, how do they reach you?
The best place really is social media. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. My business is called Dakota Prairie Angling. I've got a website. Get a hold of us on there. Message me, email me, get in contact with me. I'll sure help guys out. We're heading into a busy winter. We had a great summer, great fall. Things are looking good.
That's awesome. Eric, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being on College of Angling, and we'll see you on the ice this winter. I think Bro and I are both going to come out and visit you this year. So,
hey, I look forward to it. Hey, one last thing. I can just say thank you to all the veterans today. Everybody that's serving currently and has served. I just want to say thank you to all of you. I appreciate it.
That's really awesome. Eric, thanks again for stopping by. Hey, Bro, we've got a special guest coming in. Those in the industry know him as Colo. Other guys call him the Marathon Man. And the thing is, this guy is a world record holder. He's in the real world record book, the Guinness Book of World Records. And I'd like to have Colo join us right now. Colo, we appreciate you coming in tonight. How you doing?
I don't know if you guys can hear me, but I cannot hear you. So that's
You
not
can't hear
good.
us at all? No?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear
I
you.
can
Yeah.
hear you.
That's
Okay,
all.
but
Kai, is there any chance he's on
let's
mute
see
or
if we can
anything?
work this out, fellas.
Ha.
Not on mute. I'm not sure why he can't
It's
hear
not
us.
working.
Ha. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna I'm not tell you what.
This is my moment in the sun, and I
This
can't
is
hear
your
you.
moment in the sun, and we can hear you. We can hear you. Okay.
Yeah.
So boy, Kai, I don't know what's going on here. You know what? I wonder if our best bet on this is to come back with Colo after we've checked in. We've never had this issue before, Colo.
I'm stuck. So
Why don't we, bro? Let's come back to Colo at a later date and bring him on board, and we'll see if we can get something
I think
figured
you've got
out.
it on mute,
He's
Colo.
got your microphone on mute.
He's on mute.
He's on mute.
Yep.
Do you have we're going to come back to Colo here, guys. We'll see if we can get him figured out. That's a shame, but I was going to ask Colo two things, bro. You know, in a 24-hour period, still can't hear you. No, can't hear him. Not sure what the issue is. We call him the marathon man because he's been raising money, but he's I've actually watched him try to set the world record. And here's a guy who caught in 2019, he caught 2,172 fish in 24 hours. And this year, bro, he broke it with 2,645 fish in a 24-hour period. So I think that's really cool.
That's insane.
It's unbelievable. I mean, that's like a season. And I was going to ask him, did you get an invite to the fish fry?
No, I didn't.
I didn't either. So
They're still eating it over there, aren't they?
it was kind of a sad deal. Hey, one of the things I wanted to ask Eric, and we couldn't ask, is that mapping is really one of the advantages of having good mapping is the chance to actually look at spots, ask yourself why they work so well, and finding other spots that really kind of match that spot. So, how do you find additional spots if you're struggling to find a new location?
Well, I've mapped lakes just to have in spots you can map now, but the real thing is using your cartography to figure out the lay of the land. And a lot of the really cool spots that are mapped out and are available have people on them. And I was going to say the whole thing are the B spots, these big expansive flats, because, big perch, even walleyes feed on insects all year round. It's not just in the summertime during hatches. Everything feeds in Basin. They'll follow the fish into the basin. In some areas, Basin could be 15 feet. Shallow lakes. In other areas, Basin is 55 to 60 feet. And so you got to figure out where the basin is. And if you're not finding fish in the shallow areas, you definitely got to go in the basin. But be mindful if you're on a lake that has restrictions or slots on walleyes. If you bring something up in over 24 feet of water, there's a good chance it could get barotrauma. So, lakes that don't have slots, it's not as bad, because if something happens, you could always harvest that fish.
One of the things that when we're taping lake commandos, and now that's all open water, but one of the things that really stood out for me is, and I know you've done the same thing because we've been in a boat together, but water clarity is a big driver in the depth of fish. And in lakes that are super clear, you're going to typically find them in deeper water. And if the lakes are more dingy, a lot of the agricultural areas, you're going to find these fish real shallow. And a lot of times, if you look at where the weed line is, that's really going to tell you a great place to start in terms of fish. And I'm sure you've run into the same thing.
Oh, absolutely. I love fishing in really dense cover, weeds, darker water. You don't have to worry as you're fishing and you're going through all that. As you're going on the ice, you're scaring fish, whether you're walking or moving around. If there's not a lot of snow, and we just talked about what lake would you go in northern Minnesota, and I have to get that right away.
I'm listening too. What is it?
it is also named after, it's of muddled waters, what Winnebagashishi is. And Winnie, as we call it, does have zebra mussels now, so it's not as easy as it used to be. But lakes get stained in the summer, but in the wintertime, you got to pick an area where you're not going to spook the fish away as you're going out there. And so I love fishing, dark stained waters. And I don't want to name too many lakes here, but there are some darker waters. Red Lake is a great lake, but that lake is a little bit clearer sometimes, and they're aggressive, and just these little subtle changes in rock strings on the 50,000 acres that we could fish is all you need.
Hey, I think we got the tech issue solved with Colo, so let's bring Colo back in. Colo. All right, I hear some voice. Welcome.
I can hear you guys. It's like nothing worse. I'm back with my friends and I can't hear them. Actually, it's worse for you. You can hear me and I can't hear you. Hi, Heather.
Oh, so bro, bro, Colo, I want to ask you a little bit about, how long have you been pursuing the world record in terms of number of fish, and how did this all start? I know you fished competitively before, internationally. That's probably where you got your. So tell us a little bit of background on that.
So I was a kid that hated to read, and I loved to read fishing books. I read In Fisherman. I read all kinds of books, fishing facts, and read Al Linder's stuff. And I read an article in Fisherman magazine years ago, and I read how you could represent your nation in the World Championships of freshwater fishing.
Yep.
And at that time, I said, there's nothing cooler to do than that. And so I set out on a mission really to fish for the United States, and it's really like the Olympics of fishing. Yep. And so by grace of God, literally, truly, by that, I was able to make the team with Mick Phil as the captain in 1991 and fished 7 world championships representing the United States after that. And then, for me, I love fishing and I love people. And anytime I get to blend those together, it's a great day. And so when I would come home, I would share the things that I learned in world championships competition and so forth. And I would go around and tell people how to fish and help them kind of get started. So that's kind of what grew into the Marathon Man. And I decided to help the folks at Fishing for Life over there in the Twin Cities. They're raising funds for some military families. I said, man, I am down with that. I really want to help you. Awesome. Went to Tom Goodrich and he says, yeah, I've got a great idea. Let's do a fishing marathon. I said, yes, I'll give you a day of time. And I said, yeah, in my mind, I'm thinking 8 hours. And he had 24 hours. He goes, go fish for 24 hours. We'll call you the Marathon Man. And I did a double take, swallowed hard. And I thought, well, that's crazy enough just to work. And so that's how the Marathon Man was birthed, I would say 12, 13 years ago. And there's been a whole lot of bluegills, bro, caught in that time.
That's amazing. There's a reason you wear gloves during the competition.
There is.
Yeah,
there is.
And I can assure you guys, I've seen Colo after, not 24 hours, but he looked pretty rough at 12. So I'm sure at 24 you were looking pretty.
I was
pretty
younger
rough,
then too, so it adds up a little bit more each year that goes by.
So you're the current world record holder with Guinness Book of World Records. So talk to me. What was your first record? And I know you just broke it again this year.
Yeah, the first one was 2,143 that Guinness certified. And then, again, thank God, I've been able to kind of improve on that. Life is about continual improvement. You fall down, you stub your toe, you screw up. I got lots of those. Yep, that's a lot of those. Yeah, but you figure it out, right? And by process of determination and some grace, you get through it. And I was able to kind of work my way into improving those totals. And now this last one was 2,645 fish in 24 hours.
When I saw that number, I was impressed. But I asked Bro earlier, I said, did you get the invite to the fish fry? And he said no. So I don't know what you did with that many fish, but that's impressive.
It's all catch and release.
Hey, I know Bro wants to ask you a few questions on some of the hot new products you guys are coming out. So I'm going to turn it over to Bro.
All right. Hey, Colo, I just want to start by saying right now you are the brand manager at Humminbird, and so you get to see so much stuff. And what's coming out this year that's going to be real interesting for ice anglers?
Well, I used to serve formerly as the brand manager. Fortunately, they got somebody better. Matt Cook is now the current brand manager. I take care of the content. And actually, I'm the stunt double for Jay Irwin. And Jay is one of our engineers in Lake Master. Jay's IQ went from way up here. He's a really smart dude. From me standing, and it's down here. So Jay, I'm sorry. But what is coming new for this year, is some Mega 360 on ice. There's an adapter bracket that will allow you to take a look. There's so many people for so many years, bro, and you probably did this too. You take the 360, you jam it down there, and you're like, okay, the rock pile is over there, or the weed line is right there. Now there's a bracket to make that easier. And that's available on our newest gen units.
And Kai's got it right here. There it is.
Thank you, Kai.
It looks like a laser gun, doesn't it?
Hey, that thing's lethal. You know what? As much technology is on the ice now, we're going to really have to watch catch and release, bro. We're going to have to pick that up.
I'm telling you now, I got a chance to use it last year on Mille Lacs. It's amazing because it doesn't just show fish up high. It shows fish that are crawling across the bottom. And here's some of the cartography that comes with the maps that are loaded into the helixes.
This is a special one, this little blob, bro. So this is Auto Chart Live on Ice. Now, I know that you were a surveyor for Lake Master for a long time, and we ran that feature out a while ago, and it is really helpful on ice.
Yes, let's go back to that one, Kai. If you go back to the little survey spot there.
Yeah, that's what it is. So I thought, in my craziness, I thought, well, why would you want Auto Chart Live on Ice? Because, what the heck? How are you going to survey Mille Lacs? Well, you don't have to. No. This is a great tool where you're just surveying the spot on the spot where the fish go to chew at night, right? So that's where you want to survey that. And I was up fishing with Danny Herbeck in Eagle Lake, and he's grown up on this lake. He says, the rock pile, it goes in this direction. I said, okay, great. We put that down there, realized he was off about 20 degrees, and there was a whole other finger. So the master of that area even was able to learn something. That's a really cool feature for last year and this year.
Yeah, it's really neat, and I use it to find those structures, the shapes, look for saddles, look for points, and it's amazing what's done. And I truly understand why the fish are where they're at once you do that. But being able to see the fish drop the 360 in the hole, and it not through the hole, but down in the hole, and turn it on, see fish all around you, hands free. It does have a handle on the kit, but it's hands free.
That's right. Yeah,
you know where they're at. You can see them. It's cool.
And you know what, that works better on some of the big screens. But I would just say, as we welcome to all 9 million new anglers this year, which is super awesome. Like, the pandemic looked terrible, but fishing and hunting, and it is in many ways terrible, but fishing and hunting are really taken off. And so there's a lot of new people out there that will go on the ice for the first time, and a lot of them are looking for a unit. And I know you're familiar with the Helix 7. It's an all-in-one unit. And the beauty of that is you get a GPS built in, you get mapping with Lake Master built in, you get all your coordinates from winter and from summer built in, you get chirp sonar, and you could run dual screens. Plus you get the flash review that is insanely fast. And so in this one unit, you have all of this technology to help you get started on ice in the right way. And you guys said something earlier that made me think about early ice fishing and some of the safety stuff. And Steve said, wear a life jacket, and I couldn't agree with that more. And always have your picks. Frable does some kits. I'm familiar with those from years ago, safety kits. But one thing I would say, uncommon to safety, is turn your flasher, or excuse me, your all-in-one unit on. It doesn't have to be on the flasher mode, but on the GPS screen. When you walk on the ice, that's going to put a course. It's going to plot a course just like you did in the summertime, wherever you walk on the ice. And so, as a best practice, now you kind of know where you've tested the ice. You talked about having a spud, testing the ice wherever you walk, especially in early and late season. But now you've got a place where you can walk exactly on that path. There may be snow, there may be footprints or not. One other really good reason and a good tip for our new ice anglers.
And that happened to me last year. I found 4 inches of ice, made it out to the spot. Snowstorm came, and realized that there's some 3-inch spots and 2.5-inch spots. So without that plotter, been in trouble. There's no tracks anywhere. And I just want to have Kai put up the kit that comes with everything, the all-inclusive kit on the Helix.
Yeah.
This is something for the new people. And you get a winter unit and one you can use on your boat, because it comes with the transducer for your boat. This has all that cartography, Lake Master maps, and there's specials right now with Humminbird. So whether you want a flasher, you can get rebates, or if you get the Helix 7, check it out. It's definitely a time to get them and get them fast. They're going to sell out.
It is. And you know what? That's the beauty. You can use this in the winter. You can use it in the summer, and everything's all in one kit. And there's a lot to be said about knowing the waypoints that you fished in right before the ice firmed up. And then when you get out there, they're kind of close to those same spots as you were talking about earlier.
Absolutely, and downloading your waypoints from your open water, on your boat, it only takes a few seconds. Download it on an SD card and upload it. You're done in less than a minute.
It is, and there are so many features on that one. And bro, you were a flasher guy for all these years, and now I look at that, and what I've really done is I've kind of modified. I've really settled in on the split screen view between the flasher view and the 2D sonar, and I've got them both up there side by side. And one of the things you're talking about, the question came up earlier: how do you know that you have the right jigging stroke? You don't always, and so you can watch it on the flasher on the dial and play video games.
Show us that face of the unit with the
split screen. It'll be perfect, Kai. Thanks. And then, so if you notice, the top green line is a jig coming, and then it jigs erratically right there. So it came up slow off the bottom, and then obviously the red line underneath is the fish that's chasing that, looking at. But that erratic, really, you can see how that jig really got vibrated and pounded there. That's what made that fish come up off the bottom, look, and start to chase it. So one of the things that I'm not smart enough to remember the history on a flasher, right? But when you have it side by side on your helix, that way you know exactly, hey, I jigged aggressively that fish and it went away. They don't want that. Okay, and you can slow it down. So you can dial it in really quick.
Well, now, thanks for being here. We're going to move on. We got to bring up some more stuff here. It was great to have you, Colo. Humminbird's going to do well, and thanks for coming out tonight.
Catch one for me, guys. Thanks.
All right.
Cool stuff there, bro. Hey, I appreciate it. Hey, I want to move right to Key Kong. He's with Joe Sporting Goods out of St. Paul. Joe Sporting Goods has been a staple, a rock, a destination for a lot of hardcore fishermen and hunter and actually skiers and too. And Key, he's the sales manager for the fishing and hunting division, but I don't think there's anybody more passionate about hunting or fishing than this guy right here. Hey, welcome to the College of Ice. How you doing tonight?
What's going on, guys?
All right. Taking ice.
Just having fun and sharing some stuff. And hey, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about COVID and how has that affected you guys in the retail market this year? I know it's been a bumpy ride.
Yeah, going into COVID, it was very iffy. We're like, what's going to happen to business? It's going to shut down and all this crazy stuff. So, we were preparing for the worst. All of a sudden, it took a turn. You see a lot of people going, hey, we're out of a job. Unfortunately, in the fishing hunting industry, it's actually started booming. So I never had a chance to be off. And so, yeah, it was insane how many people had come in. And, I kind of joked about it, but it was really cool to see. We get customers that would come in and they're like, I don't need a walleye license. I just want a crappie license. And right away, you're like, this is sweet. I know for a fact you have never bought a license before in your life. Let's set you up. And it was funny because it wasn't just one person. There was so many of them, and seeing so many new customers coming in and going, hey, you know what? I only want to chase crappies. Do I have to buy a certain license for that? And I go, no, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. You get them all. And so it's amazing. Very, very exciting to see. I'm all for it. A lot of new parents bringing in their kids going, hey.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, we've got nothing better to do now. What do we do? And we're like, we're in the land of 10,000 lakes, baby. There's plenty of things to do. We don't have to be indoors.
So this summer, I had several of the neighbor kids come over and ask if they could work for lures. And it was pretty funny. We actually did get through some of the lures. And one of the kids, he wanted a Berkeley war pig and ended up catching a muskie on his first night casting that bait off of one of the things. So, but hey, one of the things I know there's been a run on open water baits this past summer. I know if you're looking for ammunition right now that the shelves are empty. Are you expecting the same thing to happen with ice gear this year? And so if you need gear, should they get out and buy now?
Yeah, the biggest trend right now, I mean, it's already started. I started setting the store about early September, and people are buying it daily. And so I've got so many special orders for, augers, for all these big items that normally it doesn't really take off until we get that first ice. And so it's crazy, man. If you're looking for stuff and you know what you want, you better jump on it because there probably won't be any.
That That's amazing. So Kai, you showed us a picture of yourself with a big old trout. What are some of your favorite species of fish yourself?
I always make this joke. I'm always after. I always want to fish the fish that I'm not fishing for, and so I'm out there crappie fishing. I'm like, yeah, I should have brought a muskie rod. I'm out there muskie fishing. I'm like, ooh, I really need a flip in those breeds. Those bass got to be fighting. So it's pretty funny. I'm after everything, anything I can get my hands on. I think it makes me a better angler in itself. I'm a bass guy really at heart, but at the same time, if it wasn't for me throwing a fly next to a tree, I probably would have never done that for bass fishing. So it's pretty cool to see that, being versatile, and especially, being in this great state, we have so many good fishing to be done, and so chase them all is what I advise to everybody.
Like a lot of Minnesotans, I grew up fishing walleyes, and I think I'm a better walleye fisherman now because I fish bass a lot, and I fish salmon, and I fish sailfish or whatever. All that stuff accumulates, and it really helps prepare you for some of those situations. So if somebody's new to fishing and they're near Joe's Sporting Goods, what are some of the local waters that you guys fish? What are some of the more popular bodies of water?
So we're pretty fortunate. We are on the East Metro, and so we do have quite a bit of, we got some pretty nice metro lakes. We have White Bear Lake that I recommend, if the kids are out there. I started ice fishing. I moved out west to California for a long time, came back and, got back into the group. I really had fun at Bald Eagle. And so that's where I do send a lot of customers to. If they're like, hey, I've got kids, we just want to get on this crazy bite, I go grab a flasher, get out there, and you will see that light up like a Christmas tree. So it's pretty fun. We do have the St. Croix course down not too far from us, about 20 minutes. That is a wild place. Do be careful out there, though. Let that ice build. But the fun part is you never know what you're really catching there. I mean, you're fishing suspended fish, and all of a sudden you catch, you're thinking it's a crappie, and all of a sudden you catch yourself a big old catfish. And in the last year or so here, they let us go after sturgeon for catch and release, and that's been the hot one. Starting to see a really big trend in that. You go and go get yourself a dinosaur. Really,
I've had a chance to do that myself. And does Joe's offer night crawlers through the winter? So if anybody wants the hottest bait for sturgeon, they can stop by and get them there.
Yes, absolutely. We keep our fridge pretty well stocked with night crawlers for the guys who do want to come and soak.
That's cool.
And so definitely throughout the year, normally, a lot of times, like I said, before we really didn't. We actually just kind of kept it for, the guys feeding their pets. But now it's become such a big commodity that we're like, we're reloading it weekly, if not, every other day. So it's been pretty impressive.
So is there any hot trends that you're seeing at retail right now?
At retail, it looks like this year it's going to be the battle of the augers, electric augers, of course, the battle of the lithium batteries, making your units lighter. This year I'll be running Helix 10s. I may even load up a Helix 12 for that 360 that you guys were talking about. There you go. And so I'm pretty excited. And so I need the juice to do it. So we are going to be playing with a lot of different companies as far as lithium batteries go, see which one will work best for it. And so definitely that kind of seems to be the biggest hype. We see guys come in
secretly.
Nobody's asking for, extra two-stroke oils anymore. Everybody's going, I want the lightest. I want
all lithium.
I want the extra battery. I want all the fun stuff. And so.
Yeah, Bro and I are both starting to run razor augers, and really have been thrilled with the performance in terms of not dealing with gas, not dealing with any of that kind of stuff, and having that power and just the instant on and reverse at times is really nice, and it's kind of fun. So I have one question for you. We're going to let you go, though. If you had one memory of one fish going back, what fish stands out in your mind for whatever reason?
It's going to have to be, I caught a walleye on a wassail before before they had a fish kill. It was amazing because I went out there, I didn't have anything. I went out there, I was just hoping to kick in holes, and it was pretty funny. Had a few guys out there, and I'm watching them, and they're watching me struggle, trying to kick in holes, and I told myself I'll never, ever do that again. So I came into Joe's Sporting Goods. And it's not even because I work here. I came in here and I said, you know what? I'm going to drop a ton of money. We're just going to get it all and say, whatever. Got it all, went back out there in the same in that same general area, there was a gentleman that was out there doing the same exact thing I was doing. He was out there trying to kick in holes, trying to find out what's open. And I promised myself I would never, ever let guys struggle like that ever again. So I walked over and I'm like, hey,
awesome.
let me punch a bunch of holes for you. And he's like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I've never had an auger before in my life. I go, I'll definitely punch the holes. It was fun then. Right after that, we got on this amazing walleye bite on Owasso, dead in the metro, and it was on Valentine's Day, which I'm pretty sure my wife's not happy.
That's awesome. Hey, one last question. I know Joe's has had very popular seminars. Are you guys going to start reloading those sometime when COVID allows?
You know, as soon as this drops, I really hope so. I know we will. We would always love to do that. I know a lot of guys are looking forward to that. We do run seminars and stuff too. I believe, bro, you've been in here a few times.
Yeah, I remember seeing you ever since the first time I've gone in there. How many years have you worked there?
Oh man, I've been here probably roughly about 8 years. I don't even remember anymore.
Yeah, it's a busy place, and it's fishing shop. You got everything. You got skis there.
Yeah, we got skis, snowboards, clothing. I mean, you name it, we've got it. And ammo, not really right now. And so definitely a lot of things in here.
Awesome. I can't wait to get in there again. And I'm probably going to have to get some lithium batteries to run all these.
You're always welcome.
Electricity that I need.
Yeah. Well, Keith, thank you so much for your time tonight. We appreciate you joining us on the College of Ice. And if you guys are in the neighborhood, stop by Joe's Sporting Goods. Clearly, he's a wealth of information. So thanks again for coming by, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a great night. Hey, bro, we've got a really cool show coming up Sunday night. Yeah, we're adding Sunday nights. It's going to be 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we're going to talk about one of your favorite topics, which is targeting giant perch. And so I'm looking forward to hearing you on that. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about hub versus flip over style houses. And I know you're a fan of hub. I'm a fan of hub. And, you know, Frable's actually got a pretty cool one out there in the Fortress. It's a neat product.
It's just a luxurious hub house. I never thought I'd be in a hub house because I'm kind of a hardcore fisherman and flip and go, but the hub house is the ultimate shack to set up for multiple holes, huge amount of square footage. And I like the kickouts that we have in our Fortress houses. They have so much room. They're the best in the industry. It's super warm. And when Heather and I are fishing, we have multiple holes and we aqua views. I have my electronics, my helix down the hole, and we never tangle because we could spread out on the ice, and it makes a big difference. And but there is a time for a flip style when you're running and gunning, and there's a time to set up and get comfortable in a hub style house. That's
very cool. You know, the interesting thing about the Fortress, if you guys aren't real familiar with it, it's instead of building it like a cube, it's actually got a bottom that sticks out. So it doesn't allow the wind to get under the houses like the older styles. Yeah. And you've got actually 55% more fishable space inside of these houses. So they're a very, very cool new product. And hey, I didn't know if I told you, bro, but I picked up a new snowmobile the other night. Yeah, it's the Yamaha Transport Lite. And what I like about it, it's a 2-up sled, but it's got a cargo area so I can carry a lot of stuff. And, you know, you spend a lot of time with tracks on your Toyota to get out, but you're also a snowmobile guy when the conditions get rough. And that's always been an issue for me. So I'm actually excited to try out this new snowmobile. I want to show you this. Let's real quick.
Check it out.
The smaller size and light weight of the Transporter Lite make it ideal for getting into tight places deep off the trail. Mountain skis, 146-inch Camso Cobra track with 1.6-inch lug, rugged rear rack, and a fuel-injected electric start 397cc two-stroke make the Transporter Lite as convenient as it is practical.
That looks light. You could get around trees and get into secret lakes.
Yeah, and I like the fact it's a 397cc engine, so it's not going to blow doors, but I don't need that. What I need is to get to the spot, catch my giant fish, and get home, and that's one of the things that we're looking forward to. Hey, how's deer season going?
Okay.
Yeah?
I don't really have much going on. I'm seeing them and letting them pass. I want to get, the right one. I love venison, and I'm just going to wait a little bit, but I've been seeing lots of deer, and I see that you got a nice one, real monster of a deer.
Yeah, I'll send you a picture of my 10-point again tonight and tomorrow, and then maybe on Friday, just to kind of give you some things. But
you're not proud of that, are you?
No, not at all. Hey, again, I want to thank all the veterans out there and your families and your spouses, everybody, for everything that you've given for us. And please, if you guys are looking for some tackle, go to planomolding.com. They've got a great discount tonight only. And bro, as always, thanks for being here tonight. It's clear. So we're going to hold here a little bit, and then we're going to dip out of here, and then we're going to pick a winner for that $165 prize pack. So everybody, thank you for joining us tonight. We really enjoy it. We'll see you Sunday night at 7:00. And thanks for all the comments. Thanks for all the excitement. It's really been fun, and we're looking forward to getting on the ice.
On that show, Steve, who's going to be on there?
We're going to have Colt Ringer on next week. We're going to have Kyle Sorensen. He's a Freyville pro. So we got some great guys coming in.
Awesome.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you on Sunday night.
Thanks for watching this week's College of Ice. Stay tuned for all new episodes coming up.
What's going on, everybody? It is producer Kai here. Steve and Bro are picking the winner. So we are going over that right now, and we will have everything available for you guys real soon with the winner. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Okay, we have a winner, it looks like. And here it comes. And I'm gonna make sure to check that out here.
Hey, wait a minute. I was gonna roll the dice here first.
I gotta reach in there and grab that paper. There it is. Let's see what it is. And the winner for tonight, that $165 Freyville prize package, is Anthony Meadows.
Anthony Meadows, hey, congratulations, man.
You have just won.
Anthony, we're going to reach out to you by messenger to get your shipping address, and we'll get that sent out right away. And hey, bro, one of the things that he's going to have in there is this College of Ice mug. So the good news is it keeps cold drinks cold and hot drinks hot. So it's pretty cool. So congratulations, Anthony. Thanks for joining us tonight. You're the second winner of the Freyville prize pack. And everybody, again, thanks for joining us tonight. Have a fabulous night and good luck hunting or fishing or whatever you're doing this weekend. Bro, we'll see you Sunday night, man, at 7:00.
Like and share this. We'll see you Sunday.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for watching this week's College of Ice. Stay tuned for all new episodes coming up.